External things are not the problem. It's your assessment of them, which you can erase right now. Like many others, I discovered Stoicism a few years ago and fell in love with its teachings and ideas. As I continued to learn and read about it, I found a lot of joy in applying its principles into my own life. But of course, that extended also into my League journey. Even if you have never looked at philosophy before, simply understanding some fundamental ideas about Stoicism can really help you gain more context in your journey. So in this video, I want to share with you the Stoic teachings that can aid you in your climb, strengthen your mental resilience, and allow you to not only get results, but also enjoy yourself in the process. The first thing we need to understand is externals. The way I would define externals are things that are outside of your control. Here's a quote from Marcus Aurelius that should really set the stage for understanding how the Stoics believed you should interact with these externals. What humans experience is part of the human experience. Nothing that can happen is unusual or unnatural, and there's no sense in complaining. Nature does not make us endure the unendurable. External things are not the problem, it's your assessment of them, which you can erase right now. If the problem is something in your own character, who's stopping you from setting your mind straight? And if it's that you're not doing something you think you should be, why not just do it? The cucumber is bitter, then throw it out. There are brambles on the path, then go around them. That's all you need to know, nothing more. Don't demand to know why such things exist. Anyone who understands the world will laugh at you, just as a carpenter would if you seemed shocked at finding sawdust in his workshop. As you can see, a Stoic's understanding of externals is simple. There is no need to worry about them. All of the things that happen to us are not unnatural. Many people like to believe that they're the exception rather than the rule. I always get bad teammates, or I can't beat these OP champions, are common feelings among people. Here's the news flash. Everyone gets bad teammates, everyone has to play against OP champs, everyone has to deal with flame, and whatever other issue you want to talk about, everyone deals with it. Just like how we should expect sawdust to fill a woodworking shop, or expect unfair things to happen in life, we should also expect things not to go well for us all the time in League. Let's think about the two main things that are outside of our control in League. Teammates, which includes their performance in that game, their emotions, and how susceptible they are to tilt, and the game itself, which includes balance changes and gameplay as a whole. Unless you somehow become the CEO of Riot Games, oversee all of League of Legends, and somehow change every single number so that you are the person that gets everything you want, who always gets the better teammates, who always gets to play the OP champion, and gets to decide what goes into the game and what doesn't, then these things are uncontrollable by definition. But the one really nice thing about League that we can always remember is that everyone has to play by the same rules. Everyone's going to experience these same challenges, but not everyone is going to react to them in the same way. Heroes and villains have the same backstory, pain. The difference is heroes use pain and villains are used by it. So how do we overcome these things? Well, we don't try to fix them or overemphasize them. If they're outside of our control, then there's no point in spending energy trying to change them, because we can't, or complaining about them because nothing good will come from it. So the choice is really yours. You can either play a game and notice your teammate doing bad and curse the world in League of Legends for it happening and say that it's unfair and it always happens to you, or you can accept it as reality and continue to make the best decision from that point. Here's another quote from Marcus Aurelius on setting expectations that also channels the direction of empathy. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood and birth, but of the same mind. And so none of them can hurt me. No one can implicate me in ugliness, nor can I feel angry at my relative or hate him. To obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone, to turn your back on him, these are unnatural. The Stoics found it silly if you were being surprised by things not always going your way. If you set appropriate expectations, you'll be better at controlling your reaction to these challenges and be able to look past them and overcome them much easier. And we need to remember exactly that. Externals are not just obstructions, but also opportunities. Another essential part of Stoicism is taking advantage of any situation, good or bad, in order to practice, learn, and grow. There is a quote by Epictetus that encapsulates this idea perfectly. What would have become of Hercules, do you think, if there had been no lion, hydra, stag, or boar, and no savage criminals to rid the world of? What would he have done in the absence of such challenges? Obviously, he would have just rolled over in bed and gone back to sleep. So by snoring his life away in luxury and comfort, he never would have developed into the mighty Hercules. And even if he had, what good would it have done him? What would have been the use of those arms, that physique, and that noble soul without crises or conditions to stir into him action? The concept here is simple. You cannot become strong without something to train your strength against. Without trials or challenges, we do not learn or grow. Epictetus argues that we should embrace these challenges with the knowledge that we can endure them. Come and appreciate the resources you have, and when that is done, say, bring on whatever difficulties you like, Zeus. I have resources and a constitution you gave me by means of which I can do myself credit whatever happens. But no, There you sit, worrying that certain events might happen, already upset. Instead, you sit crying and complaining. Just as you can never build muscle if you do not seek out the gym and continue to lift heavier and heavier weight, you can also never learn and grow if you never take on harder and harder challenges. And you will never actively seek out those challenges if you do not learn to first accept them as reality, and second, embrace them so you can take them on as opportunities rather than hindrances. This exact idea is also found in the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. Mental health is based on a certain degree of tension, the tension between what one has already achieved and what one is still ought to accomplish, or the gap between what one is and what one should become. What man actually needs is not a tensionless state, but rather the striving and struggling towards a worthwhile goal. What he needs is not the discharge of tension at any cost, but the call of a potential meaning waiting to be fulfilled by him. Everyone wants things to be easy. We constantly think, if only I had X thing, I would be happy. In League, we think, if only I had better teammates or was in higher rated lobbies, then things would be easy and I would be happy. But the truth is, it won't make you happy. Every rank you climb will only let you see how much more of a gap there is between the next rank. It's a never-ending cycle of pain and improvement, but it's one that we should be welcoming. Without striving, there is no purpose. League is so engaging and enjoyable because it is difficult. It's the tense and competitive environment that is so exciting. If everyone just had better teammates, which is statistically impossible, it wouldn't be very fun. Our rank and climb is what we have to show for our efforts. So just like Hercules, we should be welcoming of these challenges. When a teammate isn't playing as well as you'd want, embrace it as a challenge to learn how to shut down the enemy or outmaneuver them. Anytime that something doesn't go your way, break it down into its fundamental parts so you can understand it and therefore figure out how to prevent it or play around it. There are so many skills in League, and a lot of the small details often go completely disregarded by many people. Most people don't understand how effective pings and body language can have such a large effect on your teammates' decisions. But you would never understand and realize these things if you're constantly blaming externals rather than taking responsibility and being curious about these situations. Sounds pretty simple, right? Don't blame externals, take them as opportunities to learn, and you'll be on the path to success. The problem is that it's far easier said than done. To not only understand these ideas, but also actively apply them into your life is an incredibly difficult task. No matter how stoic you might be, there will come a time where your frustration and anger gets the best of you. Whether it's that one teammate that just can't seem to stop dying, or an enemy team comp that just feels impossible to deal with, it's only natural that we sometimes give in to our emotions. Sometimes, our own inadequacy leads us to tell lies to ourselves about the world and explain away this inadequacy by saying it's the result of external factors. We tell ourselves that we're in a unique scenario where the external problems are just so difficult to overcome that we just can't do it, even though deep down we know we can. We shouldn't expect ourselves to be perfect. Our goal may be perfection, but it is the striving towards that goal that is truly fulfilling. It is the small changes that we make in ourselves every day that will equate to results in the long term. We must take every situation that comes our way as an opportunity to learn, practice, and express our best selves. If you want to apply these learnings, I would encourage you to think of them in 3 main steps. Step 1, stop blaming externals. Start by laying out all the possible issues that we may face that are not in our control so that we are not surprised when they don't go our way. Step 2, focus on what is in your control. Move all of the efforts that you would have otherwise spent complaining about externals and pivot them to energy spent on your own actions. Step 3, expand your view of what is in your control. Opportunities are far more plentiful than they may initially seem. As we continue to focus on what is in our control, we become more aware of how many opportunities are given to us at any given time. We will become aware about how much we really do control. I want to leave you with this quote from psychologist Carl Jung: "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The more that we expand our perspective, take responsibility, and take advantage of what life throws at us, the more we will learn, grow, and enjoy the challenges we face.